my chain, my chain, my chain, my chain. Don't you like my chain? My chain, my chain. Don't you like my chain, man? Young Gucci Mane, and I'm popping off the chain, man. And my Jacob is so fruity. Call me Gucci Mane, or you call me Gucci Gucci. My chain, my chain. Don't you like my chain, man? Young Gucci Mane, and I'm popping off the chain, man. And my Jacob is so fruity. Call me Gucci Mane, or you call me Gucci Gucci. I came to the club just to floss my chain, man. Catch another charge, and I'm going to the chain gang. Oh, I think I'm icy. Sold 100,000, eat bologna, sex at White Street. Don't you see how bright it is? City girls and country girls be telling me how tight it is. These girls, they be choosing. Diamonds be so sparkly, they think my chain was moving. My chain is off the chain. Stacked up me some money, budget off and bought a chain. Check the way my chain hang. Gucci, I don't gang bang. All I do is change. My chain, my chain. Don't you like my chain, man? Young Gucci Mane, and I'm popping off the chain, man. And my Jacob is so fruity. Call me Gucci Mane, or you call me Gucci Gucci. My chain, my chain. Don't you like my chain, man? Young Gucci Mane, and I'm popping off the chain, man. And my Jacob is so fruity. Call me Gucci Mane, or you call me Gucci Gucci. Gucci, you be shining. Gucci, you be shining, man. Go on, turn me on, home. Tell me who your diamond man. My girlfriend acting lame. She say I'm acting different just because I got this chain. Haters, get your hater on. When they see them Yellowstones, holler at you later on. My chain hang to my shoestring. Like my watch and Wayne, but I know you love my chain. My chain hang to my ding-a-ling. I do my thug thing when I'm in the club, man. When you hurt so icy, you thought of Gucci Mane. I got that stupid money, so I bought a stupid chain. My chain, my chain. Don't you like my chain, man? Young Gucci Mane, and I'm popping off the chain, man. And my Jacob is so fruity. Call me Gucci Mane, or you call me Gucci Gucci. My chain, my chain. Don't you like my chain, man? Young Gucci Mane, and I'm popping off the chain, man. And my Jacob is so fruity. Call me Gucci Mane, or you call me Gucci Gucci.
My first chain, I had to rob for it. Jesus piece, yellow diamond sitting all in it. I'm on some slick Rick shit. 2006 Mr. T. Diamond so bright, ain't no way you can't see the G. Look, I don't dance, I just lean with it. My piece sick, every robber trying to leave with it. I got that New York fitted on, full suit Dickie on, Gucci link chain, blue stones in a nigga charm. Now watch me do it with no hands. Drop 20 grand on that bezel and that band. Cause I'm the man. I'm the man, got no wife, but my chain got my girlfriend.
My chain, my chain. Don't you like my chain, man? Young Gucci Mane, and I'm popping off the chain, man. And my Jacob is so fruity. Call me Gucci Mane, or you call me Gucci Gucci. My chain, my chain. Don't you like my chain, man? Young Gucci Mane, and I'm popping off the chain, man. And my Jacob is so fruity. Call me Gucci Mane, or you call me Gucci Gucci. floating in with nowhere left to go. If I could only live like this, a deal in its burn, a drunk bewildered herd. Follow the leader, come get the tail. You were caught in misdirection, a spectacle distracts, and it's just the right time. Up and down we spent in all conditions. For many years I played the fool, like so deep inside that we can't see how much too more to look for. Yeah, we always say it, we never need it. If that's enough, it's the way it looks, and no one's asking why. Oh, it's the right time, but we don't have the time. Keep it locked down, it's only what your heart would say. Yeah, we're better living through it, we're just surviving. Oh, there's nothing to it. Oh, so we're surviving. Up and down we spent in all conditions. For many years I played the fool, but if it's out for deception and still playing cool like a piece of the puzzle, was so quick to salute it now. Much too more to look for, too far to look for. We didn't see it, we never needed it. If that's enough, it's the way we live, and no one's asking why. Oh, it's about right time, but we don't have time. Keep it locked down and on what your heart will say. Yeah, we're better living through it, too scared to do it. Come on, I said we don't say it, but we never mean it. It's not enough, that's the way it works, and no one's asking why. Oh, it's the right time, but we never have the time. Keep it locked down and on what your heart will say. Yeah, we're better living through it, too scared to do it. Oh, we're so sick of surviving, so sick of surviving, yeah.
No park. I tag your mom, I'm your store, bags of pork, you're a dork. Pork. I tag your mom, I'm your store, bags of pork, you're a dork. Pork. I tag your mom, I'm your store, bags of pork, you're a dork. Pork. I tag your mom, I'm your store, bags of pork, you're a dork. Pork. I tag your mom,
Test
I'm your
it.
store, bags of pork, you're a dork. Pork. I tag your mom, I'm your store, bags of pork, you're a dork.
Hello, everybody.
Pork. I tag your mom, I'm your store, bags of pork, you're a dork.
I hope everyone is doing very well.
I tag your mom, I'm your store, bags of pork, you're a dork. Pork. I tag your mom,
Last stream
bags of pork, you're a dork.
was cut abruptly short, and I apologize to the three of you. This is Chair's Table. I am here to prop you up. Wherever you're watching, if you can like and subscribe and share and follow and all the accoutrement. And I can see the chat, so use the chat. Lots of things I want to get into. We'll see how far down the list I get. Something happened with the price recently of crypto assets. I haven't been paying attention. As I was getting ready, I noticed that Big Justice was trending, and we might have to step aside for a moment and watch the Outback Steakhouse commercial. You've probably already seen it. I can't find the song now. That's not good. I think it's been an oft-covered subject, but the exploitation that's going on with all of that is baffling. I'm not sure how people are just letting this happen. Like, the first thing that I want to get into is this, and so I will. This is Jared Hope from Protocol Berg a few months ago. And it gets into some stuff that I think increasing amounts of people will find interesting. And let's get into it, shall we? We'll see how long we can.
One is a private proof of stake consensus algorithm that kind of looks like proof of work, actually. And bled broadcasting is, basically the result of some of the issues we found in securing validators on the network layer. So here's a question. Are you going to submit a block proposal or relay a transaction if it meant that a government's going to kick down your door and arrest you and put you in jail, right? It's an unreasonable question to ask these days due to recent events over the past couple of years or so. That's certainly been the case. And people today are going to jail for social media posts, which are a lot less benign than financial transactions.
They really are. It's really happening.
According to MevWatch, at least, even over the past 30 days, that 42% of the people are considering that kind of course of action of self-censoring. So we want to prevent this. And the reason for doing that is because if we care about impartiality or credible neutrality of our networks, then we need to be able to secure our validators. We need to protect the people who are actually making these networks run, right? And if we don't do that, then we basically undermine the entire value of crypto at all, right? You might as well just use a regular database and even just the regular banking system. So this can basically be distilled down into two properties that we want to address. One is this idea of linkability, which is understanding which node had actually proposed a
For the few of you that might be watching at the moment, I know it's Saturday. It's not the most auspicious time to stream, but here we are. If you're following the narrative and the weave that I am threading, then this probably makes sense. This is a highly technical talk. I grasp very little of it, but there is some very obvious nuggets of gold in here, and if you spot it, I urge you to call it out, or if you think you spotted it. But I want to let you get there yourself.
A given block, the more stake you have, the more likely it is you are going to win,
Also,
and
let me know
therefore
if
you can
the
become more
audio
transparent on
okay.
the network. And
Should be
stake inference, right? Basically the same sort of idea, but it's related to how much stake you actually have in the consensus. Because you want to target the big ones. So we want to make this very, very difficult or more costly for an adversary to learn. So when we think about a blockchain network in particular, you can kind of split it up into 4 domains of concern. You have the sort of network layer, so P2P communications, how are these nodes talking to each other? We'll address this with blend broadcasting. We're talking about the consensus layer. Obviously, this is the where you're actually securing the network, proposing blocks, and there's stake or mining, however you're securing the network behind it. Then there's like the transaction system. So what's happening on the ledger. We'll talk a little bit about that. The mempool is also another domain of concern, but that's out of scope for this talk. We're really only talking about the first 2 in this talk.
The mempool is out of concern for this talk. Do you understand? We're not going to talk about the mempool today.
So even though I said that, we do need to touch on the ledger just very quickly. Basically, we're talking about zero cash semantics here. If you're not familiar with what zero cash is, it's a UTXO privacy preserving protocol. If you know the Zcash project, shielded transactions, you know what I'm talking about, right? In Nomos, however, we use UTXOs, but much more like a sort of general data model for a thin execution layer on top of it. And we are tracking not just one ledger, but we're tracking multiple ledgers. So in Nomos notes, we actually change the semantics. We keep the semantics, but we change it.
Oh, he's talking about what used to be known as Nomos, but is now known as the Logos blockchain. So you are aware. For your context, we continue.
A little bit, we update the cryptography. So if you're not familiar with zero cash, basically what the ledger is tracking is 2 proofs, 2 Merkle proofs, right? One is commitments or minted notes. So like these are the notes that you can spend. And another proof, which is in our case, nullifiers, or the notes that have been spent, right? So in something like Zcash, you would have this notion of serial numbers that get revealed, and you have this sort of long, linear, ever-growing set of serial numbers that you have to track. We actually compress that inside an index Merkle tree, right? So not even the serial numbers get revealed in this. Doesn't really matter. Basically, minted notes, spent notes. And if you can produce a proof that says that my note is in the set of minted notes, and I know my secret key, and it is not in the set of spent notes, then I'm allowed to spend. Okay?
Private transactions. Private transactions.
So we want to get to consensus. We want to get to that party. But first, we need to bootstrap. We need to get into the up to date to get to that party, right? So there's a bit of a problem in synchronizing from scratch, right? It's like, okay, let's say a stranger shows you 2 immaculate blockchains. They look identical, but if you choose the wrong one, you're going to get.
That's happened to me, and it's a lot more accosting than you might imagine.
Rugged, right? You don't want that.
Stranger, 2 strangers in trench coats. You know what they had underneath? You know what they had on underneath the trench coats? Blockchains.
So Cryptarchia actually belongs in the sort of Ouroboros family of consensus algorithms, and specifically we are borrowing a lot of semantics from Crypsinus, and they take their fork choice rules from Ouroboros Genesis and Prouse. So when you first bootstrap into the network, you're basically getting all these blocks, you're going along, but when you find a fault or a fork, you're basically choosing the densest out of a certain set window in like an epoch or two, which I'll get to in a second, right? And the reason for that is because it's going to be much, much more difficult, or they prove that it's much, much more difficult for an attacker to be able to create a denser blockchain against a whole bunch of honest nodes that are proposing blocks in a certain time period. And then once you're fully synchronized, you kind of fall back to a longest chain sort of fork choice rule within like a certain, not going all the way back into infinity, but just to a certain interval. So once you're synchronized, basically, you will start to notice how the game is being played. And so in Cryptarchia and in this sort of family consensus algorithms, time is split into these epochs, right? And in every epoch, you have a series of slots, right? These are all potential block allocations. A slot is basically every second you can think of, right? And we target a block production rate parameterized in Cryptarchia of roughly one block out of every 30 seconds, 30 slots. But within an epoch, there's actually sort of 3 phases that are going on beyond the normal sort of block production, like growing the chain, right? And so in the first phase is really about coming to consensus on what the sort of validator set is, right? However, in our case, we can't know the validators and we can't know the total amount of stake. So we're actually coming to consensus. What we're actually doing is we're using at least one epoch. So the first block and the last epoch's sort of commitments in the sort of transaction system, right? So that spent notes and minted notes. And so that becomes this sort of aged notes idea, right? And so by then, by the end of the first phase, everyone should have confidence, at least the honest nodes, what that commitment set is. Then we'll basically continue to accumulate more information. And at the end of the phase 2, we'll have our epoch or our randomness revealed at that point, along with a total stake estimate. And I will get to that in a minute. And then the phase 3 is just making sure that's deep enough for honest nodes for the next epoch. So by the end of that finalization, end of the epoch, we'll have these sort of 3 main constants, right? So the C lead is that sort of aged note commitments that I talked about, at least an epoch old. We'll know the sort of randomness that has to come after the sort of leadership eligibility to prevent grinding attacks. And then we have our sort of total stake or our difficulty, our inferred stake. And once we have all of those constants, we can finally play the game, right? We can see if we can roll the dice and we can see if we actually are able to propose a block. And the logic, at face value is pretty simple, right? So basically you need to get some randomness, that's the epoch, and then we check that randomness against our total stake, our stake in the network versus the total stake. And if it's the randomness is less, we get to propose a block. That's essentially what the game is. Yeah, so we know the randomness, we know our total stake, but other people don't, and we don't know theirs. So that's a problem. And not only that, because we don't know theirs, they don't know ours, we also don't really know what the total stake is, right? So how do we figure that out, right? And what's kind of interesting is this starts to look a lot more like Bitcoin's difficulty adjustment. So back in the sort of 50s, Robbins-Monroe proved that you could learn unknown value through a corrupt or noisy signal. And this basically gave birth to a whole class of algorithms called stochastic approximation expressions. And so basically, this is very similar. If you're familiar with Bitcoin's difficulty adjustment, it's very similar to this. And this actually starts to look a bit more, even though it's proof of stake, it actually looks a little bit more like proof of work, because you don't know how much the hash rate is out there or the stake is out there. And you're having to adjust. So what is this noisy signal that we're looking at? Well, what we're actually doing is seeing how many proofs of leadership, how many blocks are being proposed within a time window, within those sort of first two phases of an epoch. And by doing that, we're able to essentially compare that against our sort of ideal sort of rate of block production that we want, right? Here is that 1/30 that I was talking about. That's what the natural log is there. That's sort of 1 minus f.
Oh no.
To essentially
I clicked on something.
compare that against our sort of ideal sort of rate of block production that we want, right? Here is that 1/30 that I was talking about. That's what the natural log is there. That's sort of 1 minus f is. And then we just basically, do signal up, signal down, depending on the learning rate. And it turns out that this actually works. And the estimator, at worst case, has a sort of 3% difference or error rate through this noisy signal.
I'm not pretending to understand the math that is on the board there. He is explaining how the blockchain works. And I think very few of you who are watching can explain to me how Bitcoin works, let alone any other blockchain. It's Toshi's vision. The point though is, for me, that it does work, which is a big deal. Jared is showing, for those who can verify the claims, that it does indeed work. And these are the symbols that prove it. Arranged in this way, these symbols make sense and prove the technical claims. And that is the point. That is the point. I urge you to continue along.
You basically treat this as Bernoulli trials, and you'll find that out. We also simulated this doing large mass approximation over 70 epochs, even in the event that you had like a centralized stake. Which is super fascinating. That's one of the points that I wanted to bring up here, but I've lost it. So, even though that sort of one-liner logic of what the proof of leadership is doing, the actual proof is a lot more involved, right? Don't have to really worry about too much of this. I think, the condition 2 is just basically that sort of leadership eligibility, but also showing that it hasn't been spent in that time either. Conditions 3 to 5 are essentially that logic, checking the randomness against the sort of your relative stake. The difference here, though, is that to fit this in a circuit, we have to basically do a first and second order Taylor expansion to approximate the threshold. Otherwise, it's not possible. And if we can do all of this, if we can create a proof like this, we can have basically an authorization that says, yes, this block is, I have the right to propose this block. You don't know anything else about me, and do with it what you will. There is one extra thing that we have to take care of, which is this sort of condition 6 and 7, which is one other issue.
How blocks are proposed, how the leader of the chain is determined, how it's proven and how it's valid. This is a very, very low level how the blockchain itself works.
Against an adversary. So this comes from this construction.
We'll cleanse our palate with something else.
The basic idea is that an adversary might be able to find your computer, right? And that you use.
All right, listen, if you're watching on Twitter, fucking like and retweet and share it, please. I think most of the audience is on Twitter. And by the way, the chat function works. So use it. If you have questions, we continue.
To propose blocks with in the past. And if they can, they'll be able to take your keys and they may be able to recreate those blocks, right? And so that's a problem when you come back to this sort of densest fork choice rule, right? You might be able to create, if you can do this enough, you might be able to create a dense enough blockchain to be able to change the course of history. So what we do is we basically take the, we create a Merkle tree and use the root as the sort of secret key that controls the stake. And within that Merkle tree, we basically generate a whole bunch of key pairs and put them into that. And within the proof, we're showing that we know a path in that Merkle tree to that particular key pair, and we, and we've signed it. And it's and then basically it's up to the honest nodes to be able to delete those keys as they go along, right? Okay, great. So you have this block proposal. You're able to propose a block. No one's going to know that how much stake you have or who you are, but you now have a new problem. And then you're going to be able to, how am I doing? Yeah, you're going to be able to send this onto the network, right? And this is basically how every blockchain, not every, but vast majority of blockchains work, is they'll broadcast this,
Great metaphor
this block
incoming.
proposal to the network. Now, what we're going to be doing if my explanation sucks is just imagine a game of Pass the Parcel. Show of hands who's played Pass the Parcel as a child. Not too many people. Interesting. Okay. Well, that analogy sucks. Basically, it's if you can imagine like a toy or a gift, as you get as a present, but every single layer, it's wrapped multiple times, right? And usually there's a piece of candy between each single layer. And it's like kind of like musical chairs. Like you basically run the gift around the group, and when the music stops or whatever, someone gets to open it, and they get the candy, and then they pass it on, right? So there's like this sort of onion wrapping thing. The dad there, who has a very stern look, is
fun game to play. Gonna play it. Gonna have the same gift. By the way, everyone, this year, from me, nunchucks. You have no idea the regenerative and restorative power that nunchuck training can bring to injured shoulders. Constant repetitive movements.
He's probably had a really bad day, is our adversary. He probably controls 2 kids and can strike the fear into everyone else, right? Okay.
Well, maybe let's not say strike.
So you might be thinking, well, why not just use a mixed net, right? Or why not use an onion routing? I can be covered under that. Surely that's what these anonymizing communication networks do. And if you're doing a transaction, that's a reasonable assumption. If you're even doing consensus and you're the only one who has that idea, that's also good. But what if you're not the only one? What if it's 10 people, 100 people, 1,000 validators, all participating in consensus? Well, that's where both onion routing and mixed nets start to kind of start breaking down. And the reason for that is because of the nature of this traffic. So if you think about it, right, like this kind of traffic is running on a synchronized clock where they're basically producing blocks every, potentially every second, but ideally parameterized to, in our case, one every 30 seconds. And so they're creating this sort of like wall of traffic that's going on a heartbeat, that's going boom, boom, boom. They're synchronized senders. And that's a huge problem because mixed nets rely on exponential delay for their anonymity, which means that as you have this kind of wall of traffic flowing through it, the delay will go beyond your block production rate, which is a problem for safety and liveness. And onion routing is notoriously bad for, well, is very well known, weak to sort of traffic correlation attacks. So we actually need like a Goldilocks protocol, something that's not too hot, not too cold, right? And so we need to raise this cost of linkability, like this time to inference, while maintaining a maximum delay in the network of lower than our block production rate. We target 20 seconds. We now need to allow for network churn. We need to minimize message censorship. We need to incentivize cover traffic on a 1 second schedule. We need to mix messages. We need to minimize spam as well. And we need to use minimal bandwidth, right? So it's actually a very challenging problem. And so to answer this problem, we've come up with this notion called blend broadcasting. And you can imagine it's something like a hybrid between all of these. It's a sort of mixed net flooding gossip. It has these sort of 5 linear paths of 3-hop sort of multicast circuits that are created in it. It has geometric delays, pulled queues, and it has that cover traffic, right? So here you see this sort of blue circle, that's a block proposer, let's say, and it's broadcasting down 5 linear paths of 3 hops. That is not the peering degree. That is, the peering is done on the sort of flooding notion. The linear paths are kind of emergent through the mixing. And ultimately, you're expecting a terminus at the sort of broadcast for the entire blockchain consensus algorithm. Yeah. So why blend? Well, we don't assume a global passive adversary because that's kind of like, it's a very weak adversary actually, and it's also unrealistic from a global standpoint. So we assume much more a partial, so active adversary. In our case, we assume the network is 10% adversarial nodes and 10% faulty nodes, and we parameterized the network with these sort of 5 linear paths of 3 hops each, under peering degree of 4. And with these assumptions, we believe that we can raise the time to infer by 300 times for a 50% confidence in a proposal by an adversary. The difference between having this and not having this is having the government kick down your door in 12 days versus 10 years. Yeah, so I'm running out of time. Never mind. So basically how this works is you have to register with a directory initially. This is backed by stake. We're not going to get into this. The main thing here is the provider ID, because this is going to be used as a Diffie-Hellman to open up messages addressed to you. Now, like, we're trying to do 2 things. We're trying to create a lot of traffic at the same time, but we want to prevent bandwidth use, and so we need to have it spam rate limited. And so we actually need every message to be uniquely identified for a session or for the epoch. And we also restrict how many nodes so how many messages a node can make, right? So basically what happens at the beginning of every epoch or session is you have to basically create a whole bunch of ephemeral keys up to your allocation, which is a protocol parameter for the session. And you have to create proofs for all of them. So this one basically is a ticket that says, yes, I'm part of this registry, and I've generated this public key, right? And it's under the quota limits. And you also have to do the same thing, but with a proof of leadership, where you basically say that this is a proof of leadership. So this is a separate parameter, so you can still allow for covered traffic and valid proof of leaderships to come through. And then you wrap both of those proofs into a proof of quota, right? So this is kind of like the first part of a candy inside the parcel game, right? So you open off a sort of wrapper, and you'll see candy, or a bit of this candy. I'm running out of time. Huge problem. I was too ambitious. I apologize. So basically, when we were ready to send a message, we have to sample 15 nodes to create these 5 linear paths through the network. We have to generate what's called a proof of selection here, which basically proves that the public key is mapping to the index that you've chosen, right? So like, when you're taking off a wrapper, you get to look at it, and like, you know, if you can take off the wrapper, it's because the encryption worked, and then if you look at it, this will tell you whether it was actually designed for you to broadcast or not, right, onto the public channel. And if you collect both of those, and then you can use those for rewards, which we won't talk about in this talk. And then you use that to look up the provider ID to set up a Diffie-Hellman to encrypt the payload. I'm basically out of time. Message encapsulation is basically like Sphinx, if you're familiar with it, except, you know, we add some of the proof of quota to this, and the private header is basically the same, but it has this proof of selection, sort of second part of the candy associated with it. So yeah, through doing that, we incentivize people to send message or relay messages within the network, but we also restrict people from sending any more messages than they're allowed to. Basically out of time here, like I think when when a node receives a message, just look at the last two lines, you actually immediately relay everything that you get, and then you put it into a processing queue, right? And the reason for that is to prevent any timing attacks. So you're always kind of flooding. Once you do that, you know, I've already kind of walked through this. You basically get this blending token, which is the proof of quota and the proof of selection, so you can use that for reward proof later on. Yeah, so every round, that's every sort of slot activation, right? So every 1 second, but it's not every 1 second that you're doing your broadcasting on the mixing side. It's a little bit of jiggle associated with it.
Just a little jiggle.
So yeah, you're also running this cover scheduler that's basically injecting more cover messages into the queue if you have a budget. Yeah, and that's basically it. I'm sorry I had to speed through some of that towards the end there. There are some limitations, again, so the mempool is a huge problem as well, susceptible to tagging attacks. So an adversary could be able to specifically target certain nodes with tagged blocks or, you know, transactions or whatever, and see how it propagates through the network to be able to identify them. The other thing is that even though we're raising the confidence for block proposals or leaders to be able to emit blocks here, leaders can still self-censor themselves for whatever reason, right? And like an ideal here is that we could force a leader to include transactions, right? So we're working on these. If you're interested in working on these, please reach out to me. And the other thing we haven't covered in this talk is edge node anonymity, right? So like if you're not part of this sort of validator set, how are you anonymous? And for that, we have two answers. We work on the WACU protocol, which is ephemeral peer-to-peer messaging, and we've worked on libp2p mix specification, which we apply to our protocols as well. So yeah, if you have any questions, feedback, hit me up on X. I'm sorry you can't ask questions today. Bunch of URLs.
All right. If you didn't realize, there's a lot of alpha packed into that talk there. And you can find that Jared Hope from Protocol Berg, or it's there scrolling. See it? Now let's take a completely different direction here for a moment. And I want to tell you folks about something that we did a few years ago at this point. It is the script reading of a movie titled Michael's by the Sea. It was written by Charles Borkner, Fungus III, aka Forky B, the Spotify rapper. I gathered a group of friends to read and recite it, and let's get right into it.
Michael's by the Sea, written by Barles Forkner Dungus III, aka Forky B, the Spotify rapper. We officially and formally renounce QAnon. We're not nothing cute about QAnon. Ron Watkins? What? More like Don Botkins. Based on Beach Cops, the novel by Barles Faulkner Dungus III. Exterior, beach, day. The beach is packed. There's a long line of angry beachgoers who are waiting in line to get sunscreen slathered on them from a large vat. 3 beach cops, Dinkin LaRue, Flanule Granule, and Chauncey Billows, stand at the vat, applying the sunscreen to people. There's a handwritten sign that says, "Nude at this point," and beachgoers are angrily taking off their clothes.
Since when did sunscreen become mandatory on the beach?
You want to go to jail?
Silence.
That's what I thought. So shut the fuck up.
Okay, I guess this is real.
There's a mannequin dressed up like the governor of California, Gavin Newsom, with a boombox playing a robotic voice saying, "Take off your swim trunks. I'm Gavin Newsom, and I approve this nudity." Exterior, beach, day. The 3 beach cops rub sunscreen on men, women, and dogs, and they all have boners. Close up of the boner in the swimsuits.
Man, this is awesome.
Totally. What a dream come true.
I just made a mess.
The commissioner of the beach police is there with his wife, and they're just stripped down.
You guys are in big trouble in Little China. As soon as you're done here, I want you to head home. We'll talk about this on Monday morning.
Interior, police commissioner's office, morning. It's 7:15 a.m., and our 3 beach cops sit there with intense sunburns, and one has dried seagull shit in his hair.
That's what I call a legendary hang.
Hey man, if you hang with us, you're definitely gonna get a criminal record, or at least a 3rd-degree sunburn.
They all high-five, and then their boners all high-five too.
Think we're gonna get in trouble.
Don't worry, I got it all covered.
Guys, I'm sitting right here. I can hear you. Hold on, guys. Before I discipline you for that terrible thing that you did that will probably get you fired.
Discipline? Kinky.
More like stinky.
Chauncey points at Flanule, who smells his own armpits.
Whatever. I need another drinky.
I have to make a phone call to Gavin Newsom.
Hey, you win some and you knew some.
They all laugh. Then their boners all laugh. The commissioner picks up his phone and dials.
Hello?
Intercut between the commissioner and the mannequin of Gavin Newsom.
This is Gavin Newsom, the governor of California. Shut up and listen, you clown face.
Oh, sorry. Please, go ahead, sir.
You blew a secret sting operation our boys were working on to assassinate a Mexican cartel boss by rubbing poison suntan lotion all over him and his family. Because you stepped in, 22 people are dead.
The commissioner pulls out a gun and ponders ending it all.
Don't even think about killing yourself to get out of this, lartard.
Sorry.
You're gonna let those boys do whatever the hell they want to at the beach.
Yes, sir.
Looks like summer just got a lot cooler.
The commissioner ends the call.
Well, you heard him, boys. Here's your per dime for ice cream cones.
He takes out his wallet and gives them some cash. Exterior, commissioner's office, morning. The beach cops walk out with a little pep in their step, eating ice cream cones.
How'd you know he's gonna try and kill himself?
It was a pre-recorded call. She always know Commissioner Letard. He always tries to kill himself.
They all laugh. Their boners do too. Exterior, beach, day. Our beach cops sit on the beach watching an old portable television. It's their favorite show. Andrew Knows Those Butts. Celebrity Battle Edition, Nose versus Butts.
Look at him eat it.
He's undefeated. He knows every ass he's ever eaten.
Whoa, what's this? They're breaking in with some bullshit news?
On TV.
Commissioner of Police Letard resigns because it was found out that he's not really French. It turns out he's changed his name to make himself sound more French, to get coveted French vote to right this wrong. A real Frenchman has been hired. Richelieu Letard. His name is saggy and wrinkly. Here he is, everybody.
Bonjour. First order of business. I have a 300-point plan to clean up the police force. First, I would like to announce that I'm getting rid of all beach cops. I feel like their jobs aren't needed.
Oh, shit.
What?
How are we gonna wear shoes? I've never worn shoes on the job before. I don't even know where to start.
I don't even know where to fart.
How about in my mouth?
Dinkin farts in Chauncey's mouth.
That's one last fart before we have to wear shoes.
Flanuel turns the TV off.
Let's have a party.
Why?
The chief is making us hang up our flip-flops. So let's have one last party before we have to wear shoes to work.
All right, boys. This is our last chance to get their lives back on track. Man, this is awesome. That should be on a flyer.
It is.
He shows them a flyer that printed off a printer that's covered in sand and bird shit.
Whoa, how'd you do that?
This mind printer?
Suddenly, he's wearing a large metal device on his head.
This thing prints all my thoughts.
A page prints. Dinkin grabs it. And it's a dog licking a woman's ass.
Well, looks like your thoughts kind of went astray.
How do you know that dog's a stray?
They all laugh, and their boners do too. Exterior, street, day. Our guys are all on Segways, extremely hungover from the big party. They pull up to a building that used to say Beach Cops on it, but it's been crossed out. Now it says Land Cops.
Time to report for land cop duty.
You said duty.
They all laugh, causing them to crash their Segways into each other. Their legs are all mangled with bones sticking out. Superimposed, 6 months later after their legs have healed. Interior, Land Cop Station, day. Our guys walk in.
Oh, shit.
What?
We forgot to wear shoes.
A cop behind a partition sees them.
You idiots forgot your shoes.
Yeah.
Luckily, we got these shoe rentals back here. What size are you?
11.
Here's 3 pairs of size 15s.
They see the shoes on the counter.
These are bowling shoes.
Well, they defunded the police, so now we located in this bowling alley. What can you do?
This is our first day as land cops. I think we need
You could tell when this was written.
guns.
Guns? What are you, crazy? We can't use guns anymore.
So what do you use?
Bowling balls, dummy!
He gestures towards a rack of bowling balls. They walk over there. They all pick up 6-pounders. Another cop watches them. He's standing extremely crooked.
6-pounders, huh?
What?
I don't use anything smaller than a 10-pounder.
He puts it on his belt, and then his pants drop around his ankles. They see yellow piss stains in his tighty-whities.
You pissed your pants.
You piece of shit. I have prostate cancer.
Oh.
Superimposed. 3 months later. Interior. Police station. Day. Our guys...
But if you notice, they just jumped 3 months ahead.
walk in and see the prostate cancer cop.
Hey guys, I just want to thank you for helping me beat my cancer.
It was nothing.
No, it meant a lot to me, my family. All the hard work, the GoFundMe campaign, the charity car wash, the times you come over and make me Star Wars beef blasters when you didn't have the strength, you auctioned off your cares. I'm just saying, I owe you guys big time.
It was our pleasure.
I guess we should check in with Chief to get our assignment.
They haven't shown up to work for 3 months. I don't know what ISO deadline is. Just put that out there.
Man, these shoots are
I don't know
killing
what that
my
is.
feet.
They look down and see that Chauncey tied his bowling shoes to the top of his feet.
Oh, Chauncey.
Hey, before we meet, I got to take a piss.
We'll go with you and piss in the same urinal.
Yeah, what we always do.
Interior, bathroom, day. Our guys are urinating in the same urinal. Their dicks are all super sweaty.
Man, I'm sweating bullets here.
Yeah, the reason you're sweating is because you're wearing pants for the first time.
Hey, you don't have a sea breeze to cool you down.
I got a sea breeze.
Dick 1 is sipping a sea breeze with his pee hole.
I've got a White Claw.
All I've got is this can of Star Wars beef rippers.
Well, what I'm trying to say is that I'm nervous because we haven't been to work in 9 months, so let's make a good impression.
Interior, Chief's office, day.
The dicks were nervous.
Chief sits at her desk and sees our guys walk in.
Well. Look who showed up for work.
Hey, Chief.
You're only 9 months late.
They lower their heads.
When you were transferred, I wasn't pregnant, and now my baby has been born.
She gestures towards a bassinet where her baby is sleeping.
Sorry, Chief Lazard.
It's Lazard.
A shot of desert landscape pictures of lizards are all over her office. Chief Lazard sets a metal instrument on her desk.
Do you guys know what this is?
No.
That's an anal speculum.
How do you know?
My brother's a sadistic proctologist.
Speculum, damn near rectum.
Wrecked him, damn near killed him.
And then you had to bury him. Bury him? Isn't that from the periodic table?
The chief dies laughing. Despite not drinking anything, milk shoots from her nose, while her breast got noticeably smaller. She picks up a baby and sets it on the desk. She grabs some paper towels and sops up the milk and then wrings it out into the baby's mouth.
Stop. You guys just made me laugh so hard that you made my baby milk shoot out of my nose. I think you drained my baby milkers. It was some amazing wordplay. And believe me, I know wordplay. I used to live in Big Bear and train under John Little. We trained at altitude.
John Little?
The one and only.
Wow, he's in the World Wordplay Hall of Fame.
You better believe me. Anyhow, I've got an assignment for you boys, but you're gonna get rid of those pants and shoes. You're gonna need shorts and sandals for this one.
The guys are exasperated because they just had to get shoes and pants.
Really? I just started getting used to the feel of pants on my legs.
Really. And turn in your...
Hey, it's the perfect place to pause. We'll come back to Michael's by the Sea in a little bit. Thank you for those who have tuned in and liked and shared and whatnot. If you have not yet, please do. There are plenty of reasons to, but I'll let you deduce those yourself. Now, there has been all sorts of noise coming out of Argentina, as that is where a lot of the Ethereum and wider community are. There was particularly one demo or launch that I was very excited for, and that was the Railgun Multisig. We do like Railgun, the Railgun protocol, very much here at Chair's Table, and have not yet found a video. If you have found a video of the Railgun Multisig demo, I'd love to see it. I do have the stream from yesterday of the Privacy Stack main stage, as it were. So we're going to get into that now. And if you have questions or feedback or just want to talk some mess, you can do so in the chat. And I encourage you to. I do encourage you to. And as lovely as this intro music is, let's see. Do.
Privacy stack, what does it mean?
Who is bro? Who's that bro? Who's that dude? Watch, it's like somebody.
Thanks for coming this early on Friday, and welcome to this first edition of Ethereum Privacy Stack. Yes, privacy stack, what does it mean? Privacy is not one killer application or one solution that will actually enable us to have a better online experience and freedom in democracy, in civil society, but it's rather a collection of tools, applications, protocols, and behaviors. Because as the historian Timothy Snyder says, privacy is an act, and freedom is an act of practice. And this is why privacy goes from Ethereum to Tor, from Web 3 to Web 2, from hardware to software. And it's all a matter of us deciding what kind of digital footprint and online experience we want. To give like some insights and inspiration to young people coming to the space, but also to the most like navigated and experienced one, we asked to several change makers in the space what is their privacy stack. So what are the solutions that they find more ready to use, more useful. You can find these actually online on stacks.web3privacy.info, or rather here outside there is like a huge banner and you can navigate this and find whoever is your hero and see what is the stack that they actually use.
You shouldn't have heroes.
We did the
Don't
same
have heroes.
for the whole ecosystem in Web3 because we really think that we should actually team up and stop in competing, dividing the ecosystem and dividing the different communities into small, gated, or let's say separated bubbles, because at the end we are here for the same goal. And as privacy is a stack and is a collection of solutions, we should actually team up and make this composable as much as we can. Same for Ethereum privacy ecosystem. With PSE, we basically mapped the whole ecosystem. You will have more details about this at 1 p.m. We will have a session dedicated to this one.
All right, hold on.
And last but not least, let's make privacy fun. Because if you Google privacy, you have these like gloom and doom, hackers, code, matrix, whatever it is. But privacy should be normal. Privacy is embedded in every constitution of the world. And it's a fundamental human right. And we don't have...
More generally, is prepared for what's coming.
Quantum computing.
That we can defend against a quantum threat, but also that we can make the most out of what quantum technology can offer for crypto, the new opportunities. So this is going to be a two-part lightning talk, so really lightning. The first part is going to be me talking about how we plan to defend Ethereum and what we need to do to make sure that the chain keeps operating. And the second part is going to be Fabrizio, who is going to talk about...
Is that a Pinche quantum computer here?
Here is really the key message. Quantum is coming. It's not up for debate. It is a fact. Quantum is new technology, of course, but there are clear roadmaps from large manufacturers. There is a lot of investment on these roadmaps. And you just need to check the publications, peer-reviewed publications that all of these companies put out. They are on track. And the roadmaps say that around the mid-2030s, their capabilities will be such that elliptic curve cryptography is going to be broken. Now, that's the expectation, but there is a non-zero possibility that elliptic curve cryptography could be threatened by the late 2020s, so 2028, 2029. It's not the most likely scenario, but it is possible with a fairly good probability. And so we need to start preparing for this. We need to start preparing now. This is ongoing work at in the Ethereum ecosystem. Most of the work, though, is focused on changing the core cryptography layer. So introducing post-quantum signatures in a way that maintains sufficient performance. That requires significant time and significant coordination for a change, definitely a fork and consensus from all the validators. This is okay.
Classically, because once you give your signing key to someone, they can use it as much as they want.
It is we build policy infrastructure for privacy solutions. Your outage in the world, you should have various points of input. And again, this is very
you know, on-chain in a different way than just a normal transaction. Either you have to interact with the contract, or you know, there are some proofs.
Find if I can.
Thank you, sir.
In the digital world, these things are very quickly changing, and we need to make sure that privacy continues being a reality. And for us in Ethereum, for the last especially year, I think we've had a big push toward these kinds of goals being, you know, first-class priorities, for not just at a very theoretical way, but also at the in a way that really directly touches users. So I guess I mean maybe Roger, could you maybe just briefly go through Tor and some of the evolution that Tor has had over the past couple of decades and where the project is now?
Yeah, so Tor is a privacy project at the network layer. The goal, so from my perspective, I look at privacy from two pieces. The first one is at the application layer. In the Tor world, we think of this as Tor browser, where we try to get the browser layer, cookies, fonts, all sorts of cookie-like things safe. But underneath that is the network layer, where when you're using Tor, somebody watching you locally can't learn what destinations you're going to, and somebody at the destination end can't figure out what IP address you're coming from, and no single point in the middle is able to match up which users are going to which destinations. So from my perspective, every time I see a new application situation like the Ethereum one, I think, okay, great. You need to think about application layer privacy. You need to think about whether the bytes you're sending back and forth are revealing what you want to reveal and don't accidentally put things you don't want. And then underneath that, at the network layer, by default, it should all be private, anonymous, secure. It should all, you should not be revealing your IP address to the people that you're talking to, and that lets you choose at the application layer how much you want to reveal. Maybe it makes sense to use Tor to get to Facebook and then log into Facebook if you choose to, or maybe it makes sense to use Tor to get to Facebook and not log into Facebook if you choose to. So the goal of Tor in that context is to give you, the user, the choice about how much information you want to reveal to whoever you're talking to, and you shouldn't by default reveal everything to people watching you, to large telephone companies or intelligence agencies in the middle, or to the websites you talk to.
Yeah, so when I first saw Tor 20 years ago, to me, my mental model of Tor is this is a private browser, right? Tor is a browser, and I open Tor, and through Tor I can either access regular websites in an anonymized way, or I can access hidden services. And one of the shifts that I think has been interesting is viewing Tor not just as like that kind of like full stack thing that contains a browser, but as a general purpose infrastructure, that as something that protocols more generally can plug into, and Tor is about making everything that happens over the internet be able to happen in a much more privacy preserving way. So can you maybe talk a bit about that journey?
Yeah, so absolutely. Back at the beginning, we were in the peer-to-peer community. Now peer-to-peer means something else. And then we were decentralized, and maybe decentralized will mean something else soon. But part of the point of this was we're building an overlay network over the internet that gives you various security properties. And yes, you can use it for web browsing, but you can also use it for anonymized messaging where each side is a Tor user, so you don't have to know who is which. So one of the other fun things in the Tor world is the variety of types of people who care about it over time. We've had interest and use by militaries, by governments and law enforcement, by individual people who read newspaper articles about NSA, spying on them, or companies losing data. We've had use by folks in the Middle East in the Arab Spring situation. So having all those types of users blending together on the same privacy system is part of how the journey has come to this. So it'd be great to have even more
Tor being integrated into Ethereum is on the table. That's cool.
So what are some of the most interesting and surprising kind of application
sites that governments would get, as in,
There are the 5.
1. There are 180 communities within.
Meet a lot of folks that are exploring privacy as a public good, so building tooling infrastructure, working with community mechanisms like voting in a private and secure way, and exploring both of those angles. And I will let them each introduce themselves, share a little bit about their work, and then we'll get into the discussion.
Sure, I'll go first. My name is Thomas.
One.
We talk a lot. We talk about, so as a case, less applications.
ZG.eth or just K.
I work on a number of different things. So intersectionally, I work with the Ethereum Foundation as a grantee on this Kohaku wallet initiative, looking to push privacy deeper into the wallet stack and get wallets to experiment with on-chain privacy as soon as possible. I'm also part of the Silviculture Society with Violet here. We are an informal group giving advisorship to Ethereum Foundation leadership in a confidential manner on topics such as censorship resistance, open source, privacy, and security. And I'm also just generally interested in cypherpunk culture and the ways that we can opt out in different ways, like anarchist, collectivist thinking, hacktivism. All of these things are, I would say, the intersectional relations that put me here today. And I think I try to put all those things working in the same direction if possible.
Cool. Hey, I'm Sip. I'm working on Status Network, and as you can see, I've been talking the whole week. Yeah, we are building a fully gasless L2 with a privacy layer that is native to the chain. And my relationship to Ethereum at large, I've been around since 2015. I started in Bitcoin originally, yeah, you know, solo staking, like really pushing. I think the decentralization part, you mentioned cypherpunk, is also like something I really want to see happening more. There's Oscar did a great talk about how we need to have cypherpunk in the room when decisions are made for financial instruments. So we hope to be here for that.
Great, great. Can we put a slide with the ecosystem on the background? So we were doing research granted by Ethereum Foundation on how privacy ecosystem would even look alike and what kind of different actors contribute to this bigger vision of privacy. Also, if I look around, I see many developers, researchers, thinkers, builders, activists who have so versatile skills, but they are a part of the bigger game. I would ask you how you would describe, in your own terms, how does Ethereum privacy ecosystem look alike? What are the key actors for now? In any order.
Are we going to list all the privacy solutions? Because there's a lot now.
Yeah, I think interestingly, I feel we shouldn't, right? I mean, I think the harder part is not to make a list, but to make a schema or to make a...
taxonomy?
Yes, exactly, to try to slice in a certain way, which I guess now we see that you've done some of this work to do this slicing. But to try to put in my own words, to start maybe somewhere, I see a couple of major initiatives or verticals. One that I'm extremely passionate about is the bread and butter of on-chain privacy. So on-chain solutions that obfuscate the participants in financial transactions when you look at public blockchains. So this is things like fluid key and stealth addresses. It's things like what we're working on at Kohaku and a number of other parallel initiatives, all of the shielded pool solutions which we make use of. I believe this is sort of the core or the heart, at least from the Ethereum perspective, of privacy, of what we might be calling Web3 privacy. But this is not everything. So this is the one which I see as like somehow at the center. But my question maybe for the rest would be, okay, so how do we connect or push back on this as the core if you don't believe? But like, how do you connect these other types, these other pieces, and how might we define them, and how are they connected to this core central facet?
Probably the best thing to connect them, my answer is always through user experience. Okay, so in a way that I think the ecosystem has a lot of building pieces now. Sometimes it's hard to use one or the other together in the right order. It's not just using them because it's fine, it's using the right way in the right order. This sometimes goes back to a question that a lot of people ask me, is like, how much private you are, and it's like, is there like a scale from 0 to 10? How does it work? No, it's also very confusing because what's private for me might not be private enough for you, and vice versa. And I think that UX is the mean to connect the different pieces so that I can decide, to go from like a very easy flow, sometimes not as the top privacy flow, but easy, and sometimes maybe some more complex, but if you work around, even good privacy must flow into a very easy UX flow.
I 100% agree with that. And I think what we've seen in the DeFi world is something that we are going to see in the privacy world, where we're going to have more composable solutions across different type of privacy-preserving solutions, such as privacy pools can work also with stealth addresses. But we need to have the proper flow so that it makes sense to have both of them working together. And I mean, as you said, it's down to the apps to surface that to the users in a way that is not confusing and that doesn't require a PhD in cryptography to understand what's going on behind the scene. But when people can actually get the sense that, hey, my money is private now, or that interaction with that specific app is going to be done in a privacy-preserving manner. And being able to communicate that in clear words to the users. And actually, I'm talking about clear words here because I learned something this week through all the panels, is words matter. And when we hear, so like words like obfuscate and shield and so on, these are words that I've been using all the time. And now with a regulation that is starting to kind of peek around and be like, okay, what are you guys doing exactly? I think we need to have a very normative way of talking about privacy. So privacy, confidentiality have meaning that for the regulator is good, versus the moment we say, hey, we're going to do like shady things with the money. Yeah, so I think the user experience is super important because this is the words that people are going to be looking at, and explaining the flows in a way that makes user understand that now it's private, now it's confidential, but we don't do shady things, then this is what we need to go for.
Boom. I think it's salient and true. UX has to be thought about a lot. You can't just make UX for degens. We'll continue that stream.